Welcome back, College Baseball Central fans. We're here. It's preseason, right? We're into January now. I believe this one's going to be released on Monday, the 13th. But we're excited, man. We're getting into it here. I got my beef hat on. I got an O State Ballers shirt on here. Thanks to Mark Canham handed me one of those last year. I'm excited for Beaver baseball, and you should be too. I mean, this is a season here. Yeah, Trav went 1-1. Congrats to Travis. It's awesome. A lot of guys got drafted last year. A lot of guys moved on. This team is loaded, and this is the season here that I'm very excited for Oregon State baseball. They are loaded up. Perfect Game released some of their preseason All Americans. Caraway's on there. Arquette's on there. This team is loaded. So in the last episode, Scott Emmerman and I talked about the players, talked about the team. I talked a little bit about schedule, but this is going to be more in depth. This is my season preview. This is where I see that the season goes this year for Oregon State. This is just my predictions, of course. We're going to see what happens on the field. But last year I predicted an exact schedule. So pretty good. I didn't end up as far as winning the Pac 12, but I thought they'd be right there. They were right there, half game behind. So this season, lots of big things. It's the first time as an independent. It's going to be interesting to see what the committee says about an independent schedule. The schedule is pretty good for RPI building. Okay, so you're talking about 20 home games, 36 road or neutral site games. It's going to be an RPI builder. Gives the Beavers an opportunity to be able to host. We'll talk more about that when we get down to the end of it. I think realistically, if you're an Oregon State fan, 38 wins probably puts us in the tournament at some point and playing out west here against somebody 40 43 42 to 45 gives you that opportunity to be able to be a host. I think got to win more than 45 to be a national seed, honestly, with how good teams are this year and how good the top eight could be in the competitiveness of their conferences. I think that with this schedule this year, 46-10 would be enough to possibly be a national seed, especially with the teams that are on here in the RPI building, like I said. But we'll talk about it. We're going to break it down here. We're going to go down. What I've done is I also have an article that'll release here in a few days. It'll be pretty similar to what we're looking at here, but it's gonna break this down for you. It's gonna tell you about a little bit of the teams here. I'm gonna break down the schedule. I'm gonna break down what it is, the overall record, the monthly record, and we're just gonna go through it. I mean, I'm excited for this season. So tumultuous times in college baseball, and I'm all for it. I know some of you guys have seen all four Power Conference preview shows. We're going to talk more this weekend here about some other teams, but tumultuous times, conference realignment, and now it's time to be an independent and see what happens here. I'm pretty excited about this one here. Big opportunities, get some new rivalries possibly. The independent schedule is going to be where it's at here for Oregon State. So moving forward, the independent schedule. We're going to see what goes on here, but pretty excited about here this campaign here in 2025. RPI again is going to be the key. Getting those wins while we're at home. Oregon State's got to win games while they're at home, and then being better on the road this year. And I think that that's going to be a big key even into the postseason is being better on the road and being able to compete in those areas. Kentucky won that super regional, and I don't think Oregon State was the worst team. Kentucky's a very good team last year. Nothing against them. I said they're nothing fancy. They're going to play small ball. They're going to do things, and that's what they did. And then they took care of it. And I mean, I think the first game there, that 10-0 win, not really indicative of how well the Beavers played all season. And just a bad time to leave runners on base, unfortunately. So, going to be looking to make some changes this year, do bigger things. I know lots of guys on the diamond are ready to go. This team's ready to go. Really excited to see this team take off. And I think this might be the best pitching staff we've seen in a long time for the Beavers as a whole. Nelson Keljo, Dax Whitney's already gone up there. He's ranked as the number 2 prospect for the 2027 draft. So, listen, there's going to be some guys out there that are going to surprise us. They do every year, but I'm going to get excited. So, let's get into this. A lot of you folks go down and head down to Surprise, Arizona every year, starting the season off there again. A surprise. Beaver fans love it. It's Beaver's second home, really, and fans are down there and they fill up the stands, and it really feels like a home set for them being on the road there in Surprise. And it's really neutral site for everybody here. Getting Xavier twice, so getting them to start the weekend, getting them at the end of the weekend again on Monday. I think beat Xavier twice. Xavier was a good team last year. I think they're down a little bit more this year. Same thing with our next team, UNLV. I think that's another win there. UNLV down. They lost a lot in the transfer portal. They're going to be a little bit down. They're not the hitting team that they have been in the past. So it's going to be interesting to see this UNLV team. I'll actually get to see them also up in Pullman when I go later this season. But seeing them take on the Beavs, I think Beavs win those first two games. Then they get an interesting one. Indiana. Indiana's a sneaky team. They could compete for a Big Ten title this year. This team can play. They've got some dudes on that lineup. They can pitch a little bit. It's going to be interesting to see how much pitching holds up this first weekend for teams. I think that's one of the strengths for Oregon State is that they're so deep. That these early tournaments, being able to pitch their way out of a lot of stuff and being able to hit in games is going to be big. I think that they beat Indiana. I think they make it a piece there. I think Devin Taylor is a really good player, so keep an eye out for him for Indiana. But honestly, I think that they beat Xavier also the next day, and then they sweep 4-0 here in surprise, and it's not going to be a surprise to anyone here that's an Oregon State fan. Next up is the Round Rock tournament in Texas. I'm excited about this one. They get a tough foursome here to play. Houston is worse than last year, and they just lost their ace pitcher, Friday night guy, for the next 6 weeks. I think that bodes well for Oregon State to open up there. I don't know who they're going to throw game one. It really kind of depend, but that first game against Houston, I feel like that's a win for Oregon State, and I think that they go down there and they really start hitting the ball and coming alive. That next one though, against Virginia, Virginia has a chance to be a top 5 preseason club, top 10 at least. I know for me, I have them in my top 5. I think that this Virginia team is really good. They might have a record for home runs this year. Henry Ford is a terrific player there for them. They're going to be really good. And I think that this is a struggle one. I think that this is going to be like the Arkansas game was last year, where you're talking about two really good teams early in the season. Could be the first top 10 matchup that we're looking at in the season, and it's going to be between Virginia and Oregon State. A lot of fans are excited for this one, especially because it's probably going to be on that Saturday game. But I really think that Oregon State takes care of business, and it's going to be really close, though. And it's the same with that next game against Oklahoma. I think the Beavs drop one of those two games, whether it's Virginia, who's a top 10 ball club, or Oklahoma, who's probably right on that fringe top 25. I think that the Virginia game, depending on who's pitching for them, could be a big set for them. It could be a big set for Oregon State. I'm going to lean towards Virginia winning that one, and then Oregon State coming out the next day and beating Oklahoma. That's the direction I'm leaning right now. And then Minnesota, the Golden Gophers. Listen, they're a fun story. I think that they're going to be better than they were a season ago, but I think that the Oregon State Beavers take care of business. I think that the Gophers versus the Beavs. I think I'm going Beavs all day there. So I think we're stepping out of that one 3-1. I think they're going to drop a game either to Oklahoma or to Virginia, depending on how that goes. Because you go out there and you beat Virginia, that next day might be a letdown for the Oklahoma game. The opportunity is obviously there to go 4-0, but I don't see it. I think that they go 3-1 in the Round Rock, and then the next weekend, last day of February, and then bleeding into March. You're talking about the Arlington tournament here. It's a fun one, right? It's the Shriners. It's an exciting one. I cannot wait. It's a different one here where they're going to be playing some new teams, right? So they got Auburn, who they've played before in the Super Regional a couple years ago in 2022. A lot of us were there. Baylor, team's still trying to find itself. They're improving. I don't know where they're going to be at this season. I think they're still going to be lower on that Big 12 scene. Auburn is going to be better. So it's going to be interesting to see what they can do. They got some terrific players, and I'm really excited to see what Auburn can do. But I think that Oregon State takes care of business against Auburn. I think they beat Baylor. Ohio State's an interesting one because they got Justin Hare, formerly at Campbell, really good coach. He took that Campbell team to some regionals. I think that the Beavers sweep, though. I think the Ohio State's still a step away. They're going to need some recruiting time. They're going to need some time. I like Justin Hare. I think that he's going to do a terrific job at Ohio State. Ohio State was a good baseball team for a long time, and I think that they might be on the way back, but I think that they're still on the way climbing that hill. Getting Justin Hare was a great addition, but they're still going to have to add to it, right? And they're not there yet. It's going to take some time, but I believe that this is the right hire for them. I'm really excited to see what they do. But yeah, I think that right now, Oregon State takes on Ohio State and they win that one. Oh, then they get to come home. Beavers are finally home after 3 weeks on the road, playing those neutral site games. In my opinion, they've only got one loss up to this point. I think that they're playing good baseball. They get San Diego. They're playing San Diego, a team that won the WCC last year, lost in a regional, had a lot of talent that stepped away and when got drafted and undrafted free agents and transfers. They're not the team they were a year ago. They're still going to be good. They're still dangerous. They're still going to play good baseball. They still have a good coach. I lean towards Oregon State sweeping here, though, especially with that first series at home. Coming out with the Goss faithful, I think that's going to be an important one for them. I will be at that series for at least part of it. Very excited to see what they do against San Diego at home, and this lineup can get going. The good thing about playing road games this year is that you're probably going to see a little bit more offense. You know, everybody knows it's a little tougher to hit balls out of the ballpark at Goss. It's a little colder, a little rainier, a little tougher ballpark, a little bigger. So playing this one here at home, though, big time for them. I think they go out and get all three of those, and it's important there. Next matchup is a weekday set against a much improved Washington State team. I know a lot of folks probably don't want to hear that. This team went out and got a bunch of dudes in the transfer portal. They got some JC guys that have really competed at a high level. They got some young guys in there. They got a mix of some veterans returning. I really like what they've done. I really like Washington State this year. I think that they've stepped up their game. And I think that they split this weekday series. I do. I think that they go 1-1 because I think that Wazoo's going to go out there and battle. They're going to be in a lot of baseball games, and I think that they're going to be in those games. Low scoring, tight baseball, good defense, and a lot like a gritty Oregon State team was years and years and years. And now the Oregon State Beavers, they got a little bit more offense, more widely renowned. But yeah, this Washington State team is a team on the rise. I think that they split. I think that they split with Oregon State here, and I think that it's a big series for Washington State. I think it's good for Oregon State. They're gonna have to get some health, get some rest, get ready, because the next weekend they play Grand Canyon twice and Santa Clara. Grand Canyon has found themselves in the tournament repeatedly now. They keep getting there, keep competing, they keep doing big things. Even with Stankiewicz going off and going to USC, they're still good. That team still wins. They still have draft picks. They still have guys that are there. This team's going to be interesting. I don't think it's as good, and I think Santa Clara is also down. So this weekend here, where it's a mix of Grand Canyon on Friday, Santa Clara Saturday, and Grand Canyon again on Sunday, I think that they sweep, taking care of this at home. I think that it's an important thing here for them to be able to win those games. So I'm taking Oregon State to win that series there, which is not really a series, but kind of a series. And I think that they take care of those teams. Then the Beavs take on midweek challenge against Rutgers. This is Rutgers team is on the way back. A couple years ago, 2022, they were great. 23, they had a big step back. 24, they weren't great. This team is trying to fight its way back into competitive nature. I don't think that this is the right one for them. I think that they end up losing this one here, and then because they're coming up, they're playing Oregon also, so that's a tough road series for Rutgers. I like Oregon State to win this midweek here. It's a good team. It's not a great team, and I think Oregon State is a great team. Um, Good to go down to Cal Poly. Listen, Cal Poly is a good team. Cal Poly is tough. Going on the road and playing Cal Poly, and it's a very good team. I think that they end up dropping one at Cal Poly. It always feels like they're gonna drop one there. 4 game sets they drop one. 3 game sets they drop one. Listen, Coach Lee, good coach. He's been a U.S. national coach. He's a very good coach. He knows how to coach baseball. It's a good road test there against the Cal Poly team. I'd love to see the Beef sweep. I just don't think that that's going to be the case. I think that they go out there and I think that they lose one. But then they come home and they get a midweek game against Washington in Hillsboro, so it's a neutral site game, not at home. I like them to beat Washington. I think that Washington is down a lot of players. A lot of guys transferred out. Arquette's going to be excited for that game, getting to play Washington at Hillsborough Stadium, and I think that they take care of that one. Then they go on a road trip, Nebraska. Now I know a lot of you guys are gonna be like, "What? Whatever." Nebraska. Nebraska is good this year. They're good. They got hot late last year. The last 3 weeks of the season before regional time, they might have been the hottest team in the country moving into regionals, and they just didn't have enough pitching to last once they got there. This is a very good Nebraska team. They're down a little bit on the pitching side, so I think this is going to be a big series to see where the bats are, see where Oregon State's pitching staff is to close out March. Um, I do have them winning 2-1 against this Nebraska bunch, and I do think that they lose a game there on the road, but I think this is a good series win going to Nebraska, and it really proves that they're getting ready for postseason. And I like this series. I like this matchup. I think that's going to be awesome. I know Noah Darling from College Baseball Central, he'll be out there. So if you guys are out there, go say hi to him. But yeah, I think it's going to be an exciting series there, Oregon State at Nebraska, and I think that they take care of business. So up to this point in the season, through March, they're 23-4 in my estimates, 16-3 in the month. It's a lot of games they had to play this month, and it's good. It's good to get those games in March. Then we move to April, right? This is a tough one here. This is a tough month. It starts with a trip down to Goss. I'm going to be there. Chinook Seeds, code CBC to get 10% off your entire Chinook Seed order. Go on there now. They got 8 different flavors. Guys, it's terrific. I'm going to be setting up a booth outside there. We're going to be down visiting. We're going to be doing giveaways, giving away seeds and all sorts of stuff. Come down, say hi. This is that UCI, University of California Irvine Anteater Series. It's going to be huge. It's going to be very important. I cannot wait. It's going to be very much fun. But yeah, I'll be down there giving away seeds, doing all sorts of fun stuff. So come on down, come say hi. I'll have the booth out for a little bit. We don't know where we're going to put the booth yet, but we're going to figure that out. But yeah, we're going to set up the booth, get everything all set up, doing a giveaway there for Chinook Seeds. Very excited for that one, but also great baseball. So I'll be at that Friday and Saturday games there. But listen, this is not last year's UCI team. That team won 45 games. I think this team's taken a step back. I think that they lost a lot. They're going to be good. They're not going to be great like they were a season ago where they finished in the top 25. I think that the Beavs drop one probably just because I think that Irvine wants some revenge after getting bounced in the regional up in Corvallis, but still a very good UCI team. They're not what they were last year, though. They're not the team that won 45 games. They're going to be really good. They're going to be much maligned about that loss and getting knocked out of the tournament. But it's a good team. I think that the Beavs go 2-1 and take care of business there. Then they go to another neutral game, Portland and Hillsborough. I think they take care of that one. This Portland team is not what Portland was last year. The Pilots were ultra talented, super seniors. They had all these guys lined up. They were really good. Beavs seem to take care of business. I think they do it again against Hillsborough, up in Hillsborough this year. Against Portland, they're going to get 2 more games later in the season against Portland at home. So it's good to see the Pilots, but I think that this Pilots team is not what they were a season ago. Now it's back-to-back road series down in California. And it's at Fullerton and at CSUN. For those of you who have not been keeping track there on the West Coast, Fullerton's a little bit of a step back. I think they'll be better this year than they were last year. Last year they struggled. They were not the Fullerton team that we'd all grown to know. I think they take a step forward. I don't think they're still where they want to be. I'm interested to see what happens and going on here with that one, because here's the thing: they're going to go down there, they're going to play Fullerton, and then they're going to get that. I think they take care of business. I think they go 3-0 against Fullerton. Why? I don't think Fullerton's pitching is as good as they're going to need it to be able to compete against the Beavs offense. I think the Beavers offense gets rolling by April. Heading down there, I think that they take care of business. I think that they go 3-0. They have a midweek game against UCLA. Now don't fight me on this, and don't punch me in the face. I think UCLA is going to be better than they were last year. Obviously, that last year was kind of fluky for them. Coach Savage is a good coach. They got really good players. Rock Cholowski, he's really, really good, right? I think that UCLA wins that midweek series game, just because I think it's important for them. I think that they're going to want to go out there and prove that they belong. I think they're going to be battling for their life in Big Ten play, which seems silly, but I think that that's where they're going to be at. They're improved. I think they're better on every aspect this year. I think UCLA is going to be more focused. I think UCLA takes that one, especially after Oregon State sweeping Fullerton, and I think that bleeds into the next weekend where Oregon State drops one to CSUN. CSUN can hit. They can straight up hit. They have an elite offense, and I don't see it stopping next year. Their offense is good. They're going to bang the ball around the yard. They don't necessarily hit a ton of home runs, but they hit a lot of extra base hits. They hit a lot of guys in hit and run situations. They do a lot of little things right. I like the direction that CSUN is going. So I think 2-1 is reasonable. So for that whole road trip, 5-2 is probably looking like the key there. Is taking 3 from Fullerton, dropping 1 at UCLA, and then going 2-1 in the weekend win against CSUN. It's important, but we're gonna have to see what happens. Then Zag Dogs, Gonzaga. That they were not terrific last year, right? And this is a Gonzaga team that got hot late, but it wasn't enough once they got to tournament play. Gonzaga is a perennial opponent. They always play Oregon State. They're going to be in the Pac-12 now. Moving forward, I don't know what that means for baseball. Nobody knows yet what that means, what these schedules are going to mean. What it does mean is that they're playing, and they were bad last season. I think that Oregon State ends up taking a couple of those games right there. I think that they go out and they win too. I'm not necessarily worried about it, other than the fact that it's going to be leading into the series down south against Eugene and U of O. I mean, if they drop 2 or if they drop 1, it wouldn't surprise me. I know I lean 1-1 usually on those midweek when you play 2 in the midweek because it's just really hard because you got to go 5 starting pitchers deep in the whole week. I think the Beavs are deep enough to do it. I think that they do drop 1 though, looking ahead at that Oregon series. Then they get 3 games in Eugene against the Ducks. I'll be there. It, I, it's hard because this Ducks team returns 11 players that have played meaningful innings in the field. They return Grayson Gransel, who's a certified ace on the mound. I mean, he's good. I don't think he's as good as Nelson Keljo. He's good though. I mean, the guy can straight up pitch. It's gonna be interesting to see what they do on that Friday. This Duck team can hit. They can play defense. They're fast. I know folks probably don't love talking about them that much, but this is a good Oregon team, and it might be in the top 10 at this point in the season. I think that both Oregon State and Oregon could be flirting with the top 10 all year, depending on how these seasons play out. I'm going to lean towards Oregon State having their first series loss here. I think that in Eugene, the Ducks are trying to build something. They're trying to go some direction here. And I think that with all the games that they've had to play this month, I think that Oregon State struggles. I think that they bounce back and they take the midweek game before heading out to Hawaii, but I really think it's a 2-2 split. And I think that what ends up happening is that they lose 2 down in Eugene for the weekend series, and they end up having their first series loss down in Eugene. I think that whoever wins that series is putting their stamp on saying that they're going to be a national seed, if not, or a regular seed, hosting a regional and possibly putting themselves in the conversation for a national seed. If Oregon State can win that on the road, that's a huge series depending on how Oregon season goes. But Oregon taking care of business at home wouldn't surprise me to that one. So I'm taking it 2-1 Oregon. I'm taking some good games, but I think Oregon takes out that series. And overall, that puts us in April now. Total overall is 34-10. For the month was 11-6. Not the greatest month. Again, baseball is a war of attrition here. They got to keep going. They got to keep playing. It's going to be tough. So I look forward to it. It's going to be a good series. I don't know if Chinook's going to be down there for that one. We'll take a look at that series. It could be a big one there to be at. Again, if you have not tried Chinook seeds, go online, go to chinookseedery.com, take a look at all their stuff. They have so many seeds. They got freaking cinnamon toast seeds. Yeah, you heard it. Cinnamon toast. My personal favorite is the Smokehouse Barbecue. They got the jalapeno ranch. They got Parmesan and pepper. They got all sorts. They got lemon pepper. They got dill pickle. They got original. They got all sorts of flavors. Hatch chili is everyone's favorite. Go out there and try them. Give them a shot. They're really, really good sunflower seeds. They are super low in sodium content. So Good flavor though. I really enjoy those sunflower seeds. Use code CBC to get 10% off your entire order. Go out, purchase a sampler pack. Again, I'll be bringing stuff down this year, so hopefully you guys can try them out. Great sunflower seeds. Cannot wait. Let's get into May. Sorry, I've been battling something for a week, so why I'm coughing, that's the reason. Road series out in Hawaii, folks. I don't know how many of you guys are going to make the trip. I will be there. I have that trip booked. Taking the wife out there, going to go visit some friends in Hawaii. I love Les Murakami Stadium. It's one of my favorites. Those of you who have been following me this offseason, you know that I've interviewed Rich Hill, their head coach. He's not lying when he says you go out there and it's like watching a game with 5,000 of your favorite people. It's so much fun. It's an exciting stadium. You know, on Friday night when the lights come up and the fog rolls in from the outfield, it's really a pretty cool experience. So if you're coming out to Hawaii, hit me up. Please hit me up. I'll be there. Cannot wait for that Hawaii trip. This is a really good Hawaii team. They're going to shock some people this year. I really have a lot of faith. This team should have made the tournament a year ago. They might be a 40-win team this year. That's how good this Hawaii team is, folks. And if you're not paying attention, start paying attention now because this team's good. I mean, they could be in the hunt for a host seed, which is going to be tough. I really like this Hawaii team. It's a 4-game set. It's going to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I will be at every game. Again, so if you're there, come on, say hi, take some pictures. We'll have some fun. I'll drink a beer with you. We're going to have a good time out there. But listen, I think it's a split series. I think it's 2-2. I think that's how good Hawaii is, and that trip's going to be tough for the boys. It's a fun, good trip. It's a good road trip. Good to get out there. Good mid-season break there. Taking care of business. It's tough. 2-2. That's my guesstimate for going out to Hawaii. Then we get into the crunch time. Now it's time where you got to figure out who you are, what you want to be, where you want to go in life. How does this work out for you? Come home with the midweek against Portland at Goss. I got that as a win. I think that they're just a lot better than Portland is this year. It's gonna be tough again because it's 5 pitchers that week, but I think that midweek series, I think they got to keep beating Portland is what's gonna have to happen. So I think they beat Portland here. Then they head out to Iowa. Iowa has Cade Obermuller, terrific starting pitcher. He's up there. He could be out there for Big Ten Pitcher of the Year. He could be up there for Pitcher of the Year. He has the abilities. He stumbled last year. I know a lot of us were really high on him last year. This Iowa team is not what it has been the past 2 seasons. I think this Iowa team takes a step back. Offensively, I don't see it. I've gone through them. I've broke down a lot of their players. I don't see a ton of offense this year. And the pitching, the bullpen's just not there. So I look for Oregon State to go out there and sweep, which is tough for me to say because going on any road trip and sweeping is really, really hard, especially against a Big Ten team that's been competing for a Big Ten title. And you're traveling out there to Iowa. They're playing in a minor league stadium. I think that favors the Beavs. I think that they just take care of business. I look for the Beavs to go 3-0. They come home. They play the Pilots again on another Tuesday. I think that they beat them again. I think that this is just another thing that they just go out there and they're taking care of the midweeks. I think the offense is too good. I don't think you can slow them down. I don't think it matters who they're going to pitch because they got so much pitching. I think that the Beavs take care of business again for another midweek. Then they end the season. The regular season for them ends early in May. And it ends on that Thursday through Saturday series like it always does. But there's no conference tournament. There's nothing conference-wise for them. So they get the 2 weeks off like they used to get before Pac-12 had a tournament. They play Long Beach State. Long Beach State started off so hot last year. They were so good, and they had so much pitching. They lost a ton. I mean, they lost so much in the transfer portal. They lost so much players. I think that at home, Oregon State really takes care of business here to put an exclamation point on the season. And they're going to have to. They're going to have to play well in May to earn their way to getting a regional because nobody's going to see them for 2 weeks. So they're going to be off for a week before selection Monday. And, they're Saturday to Monday. So you're talking about 9 days where they're not going to see Beavers play baseball. It's going to be interesting. It'll be good for them to get healthy, get some practice in. But I have them sweeping Long Beach State. Puts the overall at 44-12. So you ask yourself, I said, you got to be at 45 to 46 to get to be a national seed. I said 42 to 45 puts you in that range of hosting. I think they host. I do. I really believe that this team has all the things to host. I think already talking to other media outlets and talking to other coaches, and everybody kind of knows that Oregon State feels like a top 10 team again. Uh, Last year they finished ninth in a lot of polls as the best team that didn't make Omaha, which is not the greatest thing anybody wants to hear. But it's a good team, and I think that they are improved in a lot of ways. Yeah, you lose Trav. Um, and you're gonna have some new starting pitchers, but I really like the pitching this year. I think that it's grown up. I know Rich really believes in this pitching staff. I think it's one of the best staffs that he's ever had at Oregon State. I'm excited to see what happens. I think that they beat up the zone. I think that hitting wise, they really attacked the baseball this year. I think we're going to see big jumps. I think Caraway being healthy at third is going to be huge. Arquette at shortstop. Whoever they put at second, Jabin Trosky, I believe in him. Singer, I believe in him. Uh, Craig at first, and then you're going to see a full bunch of outfielders. I mean, Macias is going to start every day. Turley's going to start every day, and then you're going to see a mix of guys. Could be Cannon Reeder, could be Easton Talt. It's just going to be really interesting to see where they go. So I'm excited for this team. It's going to be interesting to say the least, but I think that they host. I think my prediction is 44-12. Go ahead, guys. Shoot me messages. Tell me what you think on my predictions. I know a lot of you are going to hate that I have them losing the only series is to Oregon and splitting with Hawaii, but I really believe, after looking at 170 teams that I've looked at this offseason, Oregon State's putting themselves in that mix. They belong there. They have 5 guys that are ranked in the top 100 for draft picks. They have the talent. They have the players. They have the breakup. They have the makeup. I'm ready for this team to break out. I'm ready for Coach Canham to get this team to Omaha. As always, I'll be in Omaha, so I'm really hoping they get there. I think it'd be awesome. And they're in my Omaha 8. They're in my top 10. They're actually number 7 in my teams right now, and that could improve. It really could. I really like this team moving forward. So excited to be watching college baseball with you guys. Remember, every Monday during the season, I'm going to do a live show, 7 p.m. Cannot wait to spend that time with you guys. I'm going to have different guests on. We're going to break down the week before. We're going to talk about the week upcoming. Really excited for Beaver baseball. Every Monday, you're going to get this. We're going to do a couple more, at least one more episode in the off season here. Where we're going to just talk about Beaver baseball and getting ready for the season. I might have some guests on. We'll just talk baseball. Can't wait. But join us every Monday, 7 o'clock. We're going to be doing Beavs on the Diamond. Can't wait to see you guys down there at Goss. Come by. Chinook Seeds, guys. Go on. Go buy them. Go on. ChinookSeeds.com. It's great. It's really good stuff. Use code CBC at checkout. You're going to get 10% off your whole order. Go buy a sampler box. It's cool, man. You get 8 packs, or you get 4 packs of each of the 8 flavors, 32 seeds. Go on there and go buy it. It's really a cool thing. Thanks for joining me again. Join us for all of our other shows. Also, Saturday morning show during season, the weekend rotation. You can join us live. You can see what's going on across the country. We have stuff going every single night of the week this year for College Baseball Central. We got the ACC podcast. We got Truck Stop podcast, which is Big 10, Big 12. I know touchy subject for some of you guys. And then we got the Southern Fried Chicken, which is going to be, or Southern Fried Baseball, which is going to be our SEC podcast. So we're going every single day of the week this year. Join us for all your college baseball needs. Thanks, guys, for watching, and hit me up with some messages. Let me know on Twitter here. Let me know what you guys think.